Hey, I'm Chris,
I'm Evan.
And I'm Aaron.
and this is the Three Chords Cast. So today on the Three Chords Cast, we just want to welcome all of you back. This is season 2 of the Three Chords Cast, which is super exciting. We have officially recorded 9 episodes, so this will be our 10th starting into this next calendar year. We're calling this season 2. We are so happy that you're here and continuing to listen, or welcome in if this is your first time listening. Please share this with all of your friends, and we're just so excited to be back and chatting with everybody. But today we decided we wanted to talk about Sabbath. We're talking about something that sounds very peaceful, if you know what Sabbath is, but it often feels very complicated for us. But before we get into that, as always, we want to catch up with each other. It's been, I think November was the last time we all recorded together. Aaron did a really great episode for us, a mini episode in December on Advent. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, definitely give that a listen. Even if it's, not Christmas time, it's still a really wonderful topic to learn about and to practice throughout your entire year. So Aaron did the mini episode for us in December. And then, we went through the holidays, and now we finally have the time to get back together again and get to recording. We're super excited for this year of recording. We've got some great plans. I think we already have episodes planned out into the early summer, and we're hoping to get our first guest on in the spring. So that'll be great. But in the meantime, since, we haven't caught up for a while, didn't want to just jump right into this without seeing how you guys are doing, or see if there's anything going on in your lives that you want to share with us or with our listeners.
Well, I know the thing that's going to be happening in my life pretty soon, and Chris, you might be facing some of this too. That snowstorm that's coming this way. Actually, all of us will deal with it in some form or fashion, huh?
I don't know.
I feel like the latest weather map that I saw was like, for us, it was up to 18 inches. But there's people that have said there's going to be like 3 feet of snow. And I'm like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
What are they calling for you guys in Boston?
It's like, it's kind of the same. It's like 6 inches of snow, 18 inches of snow. Like, I don't know. I'm getting my coat and my salt ready, and shovel warmed up, I guess. I don't know. But it'll be fun. Like, I'm excited for like being out in it, but shoveling it, I'm not looking forward to at all.
Yeah. It's kind of nice that it's like sort of hitting on a weekend for the people that, work like a typical like Monday through Friday job like I do. But also then there's people like, you and Aaron, you guys do stuff on Sundays as well.
Yeah.
Aaron was just telling me about like worship, like rehearsal, right?
Yeah, we're 95% sure we're not having service because just the ice. And that's the weird thing. Like, they're saying we're probably not even going to get that much snow, but it's going to be an icicle of a weekend. So, just unless you are planning on going out and getting in a traffic accident, maybe don't go on the road, this whole weekend. So,
well, and North Carolina, it's like any chance of ice, snow, it's like, buy all the toilet paper, stay home, the world's shutting down.
They said the local Harris Teeter over here, there was no milk, no eggs, no bread, none.
See,
That's crazy.
That always
0.
cracks me up, because if you think about it, like, people buy eggs and bread and toilet paper like they're going to make egg sandwiches while they're on the toilet. Like, what is the game plan?
We're going to have breakfast always, just eggs and toast, and that's
drink
it.
gallons of milk, because that's different than a normal day.
What are you going to do with an egg if your power goes out? Are you just going to sit there and eat raw eggs?
Do people just do that because people have always done that? Like, do they just
I think
like,
so.
oh, I guess I have to buy milk and bread and eggs and toilet paper because my great-great-grandmother did that during the Great Depression? Like, what is happening?
I have no idea.
And like the district, like the thing too is, you get all the milk spot out, right? What about like it? I think the last time I was in a store and that happened, the first thing I wanted to do was go over to like the Nesquik aisle and see like, are people also buying up all the Nesquik and the chalky syrup for chocolate milk, or like is this, you know? And that sounds so silly, and it is silly, but I'm also just like, what are we doing? And again, if your power goes out and you open the fridge up, the fridge ceases to have the thing that makes it the fridge.
And I totally get and respect like being prepared. Like that is important. I think everybody should do that to a degree, but it's just funny, like the ways that some people prepare. Like they don't really know what to do, so they just kind of do what everyone else is doing, and they buy bread and milk, and they're like, "Okay, I'm ready." I'm like, "But do you have a generator or some blankets or a plan if you don't have power?" No, but you have bread. Right. It's like, what are we doing?
Do you have Fallout 4's playlist on Spotify downloaded for when the world ends?
So at least you have theme music. Did you guys ever get, like, you both grew up in the South, right? Like you both grew up in Florida?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So did you ever like really get to, I guess you probably didn't get to really experience the whole like snow day and delays and closing experience. Like, so I grew up in the North, right? Like I grew up in Pennsylvania, and it was the best thing in the world to like wake up and you saw that it snowed, and you go watch the news and see if your school had a 2-hour delay or a closing. And so 2-hour delay was like, you kind of could just like hang around, but then still had to go to school. Closings were the best because like the first thing we would do was stay in pajamas, just eat like a hearty breakfast, and then like call all of the neighborhood friends. And it was just like a snow day. Like we would go outside and sled ride and snowball fights and like all this awesome stuff. And I just like, I feel like kids don't even do that anymore. Like I saw that our school had a closing like a couple weeks ago, and they had a virtual day. It was like virtual teaching. I was like, that wasn't a thing when I was a kid. Like they would wheel a cart of laptops into our classroom, like maybe when I was in like 5th or 6th grade, when our school could afford like 30 laptops. And that was like a virtual class for the day where we did a research project or like built a PowerPoint presentation. But like it was just so different. It was like a school closing was just the day off.
Yep.
And then we would go to school until like the middle of June because we had so many snow days. Right. I think it was 2009. We had an entire week of school off because of snow. It just snowed for a week straight.
That's crazy.
You guys didn't get to experience that.
We had hurricane days.
Yeah, we had hurricane days.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that sounds a lot more terrifying.
Well, see, that was the thing. That was the thing. And I think I only remember one significant hurricane where we lost power for maybe 8 hours. I don't remember exactly how long, but I remember the only lights that we had were just like candles in the house or flashlights or whatever that we had. But I remember having a hurricane day, and if the power didn't go out, sat there and played Legend of Zelda all day. Had whatever. Hey, we didn't have to worry about school lunch. Mom was cooking more than one home cooked meal that day. It was great. We loved it.
Wow.
But, didn't get to go outside and play wiffle ball. We'd hit a wiffle ball and go to the next county, and we'd probably fly too.
Because the winds are going to blow you away.
Yeah, you never toss the bat because it might go into like the neighbor's yard and be like, oh, okay.
There's an influx of bats in Georgia. That's what's happening. Yeah, I was just thinking about that when you were asking about the snowstorm. But
dude,
I mean, we'll see. I think this weekend's going to be kind of dicey for some people, and a lot of people are going to be listening to this like after the snowstorm hits, so they'll already know what happened. But
yeah,
we're hunkering down here.
Lexi told me something funny, and I know you guys are Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, so maybe y'all aren't as like country Hickville, whatever. Her family did in Colorado. Because they're out in the middle of nowhere. Because, like, when snow would come and all that, your low for the day is, like, 10 degrees or less or whatever. Your high for the day is maybe 20. Anyway. And they had multiple times, especially after Christmas, because, you'd have all the family and all that would come over. They'd have all the Christmas meal, all the Christmas food, whatever. Well, they'd have all these leftovers, and they don't have anywhere to put it. The fridge is full. The freezer's full. Your high for the day is only 20 degrees and it's cloudy, not a whole lot of sun or anything. Lexi goes, yeah, my mom would just throw stuff in the car. It's going to stay cold.
True.
like would throw leftovers in Tupperware into the car because the car is going to stay, less than 40 degrees all day. So boom, instant
works.
refrigerator.
I mean, I guess
And a
that's
mobile
the
one.
advantage of like losing power when it's snowy is like you can just put stuff in a cooler outside.
Yeah.
It's going to stay cold.
Yeah. Yeah, Lexi
House
was
is
like,
freezing.
hey, I mean, I don't know about the freezer, but we could put everything in the fridge outside.
Yeah. Well, hope you guys stay safe. And especially Aaron with the ice. I'd rather have snow. I think Evan and I are going to be in the clear on ice.
So we were coming up with ideas for what's a good fun thing to do before we really dive into the topic. We've talked about church potlucks. We've talked about all kinds of other things. So we figured we'd play it safe today and do a simple would you rather. So we each have one apiece, I believe it is. And I mean, I'll go ahead and start because I think mine's pretty mundane. But would you rather stay exactly the same as you are, live your life like normal, nothing happens to you whatsoever? Or would you rather be given $10 million, but you have to stop everything that you're doing and do 50 jumping jacks every 3 hours for the rest of your life?
Wait, 50 jumping jacks every 3 hours for the rest of
Every
your life
3 hours for the rest of your life.
for $10 million?
For $10 million.
And that also, like, so I have an internal clock that wakes me up in the middle of the night
Yes.
for jumping jack time.
Ooh.
Yeah. You're never getting more than 3 hours of sleep at a time.
Think about the timing of that. Like, you get on a roller coaster, and the timing of when you have to do your jumping jacks is while you're on the roller coaster.
Right?
Like, this takes way more planning than most people think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is it worth
Like,
the planning?
is it a set time? Like,
What
I
if
get
you?
to
Oh gosh! Like, what
You,
if
you
use the
gotta sit
bathroom?
down.
What if you
I
sit
feel
down
like
to use the bathroom and then you're supposed to do jumping jacks?
Oh,
Does it happen
no.
automatically, or can you choose?
I think no. I think you got to get up and just do it.
It just
You got to get up and just do
your
it.
Body
Yep.
just
Let's hope you're not on an
involuntarily
airplane in the middle of that during turbulence.
Right. Sir, I asked you to sit down. I can't.
stands up. I'm on fortitude.
I just won $10 million.
Wait,
I take the money.
would
That's-
you would do
that's
the jumping
easy.
jacks?
Like
Right.
genuinely, I think I'd take the money.
I
mean,
think
it is
I think
a lot
the
of
$10 million
money. That's a lot of
and
money. It would be very inconvenient though. Like you would literally have to plan your life around doing jumping jacks. You know how
I
ridiculous
trust
that
my
sounds?
I trust my lack of sleep in life already enough to know that I will have enough sleep to get through this.
You would also have incredibly swole calf muscles.
That's what I'm saying.
Aaron, you
How
already
many
do.
you would do
You
every
already
day?
do.
I knew I was gonna do this from the beginning.
Well, because you said you says every 3 hours, right?
Every 3 hours. So and it was
8
funny.
times per
Oh.
day,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then you're
sorry.
doing 50 each time.
So
I just had this
initially,
thought. I can never preach again.
No, you just do jumping
Except-
jacks while you're preaching.
That's right.
So
An
is that
illustration, people.
400 jumping jacks per day? Is my math right there? Yeah,
yeah, 8 hours, 50, 400 jumping
Mm-hmm.
jacks a day.
400 jumping jacks per day. That's not that
Sounding like one of those anime workouts already.
Tell you what, it would be a much easier answer if it was like I can move it to be I'm going to do 400 jumping jacks right now for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't do that. It's the inconvenience
Yeah,
that makes
that's
it
true.
a would you
You
rather.
can do it.
Inconvenience of the
but
increments.
I take the money
Yeah, I
every
think
few
you're right.
hours doing
Oh, absolutely.
doing jumping jacks.
I mean, not to say that my life now isn't great. Like, I have a pretty good life, but I could also have $10 million and swole calf muscles.
That's right.
Both are wife approved.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Probably the $10 million first.
That's right.
Probably.
Can I use my $10 million to pay someone to do my jumping jacks?
No,
Nope.
it's all you.
Okay. Then
Okay,
it's
yeah.
still
Do it.
the money.
Yeah.
And follow you everywhere, dramatically playing music that matches your mood, or have a narrator loudly explain all of your actions like a nature documentary. So Tiny
First of all-
Mariachi Band.
So what do
is
you mean
always
by
playing.
so tiny mariachi band? You mean like
No.
shoulder tiny?
No, like I would assume it's like a small number, like the minimum
Like a
number
little cast
of instruments that you would
Okay.
need for a mariachi band.
I'm
They're
thinking
full size,
one guitarist, one
So-
trumpet, one bass violin.
Okay,
And they
so you're
follow
not
you
you're not like okay, I see. And then nature documentary.
Second, there's an oxymoron there. How does a nature documentary loudly say anything? That's what I want to know because
the nature documentary can't hear the narrator, but like
well, okay, I guess that's
You
true. It's
can,
just
and
when
other
I hear a nature documentary, it's and here we see the ostrich walking through the Serengeti.
well, in this case, it's
And you're
not a
like-
narrator.
Okay, perfect.
So
Do I get to pick the narrator?
Sure.
Morgan
Okay.
Freeman. Easy. No.
all right.
Denzel Washington. Even better.
Nope. No. So when we were on vacation in North Carolina last, we were staying at my friend's house, and we watched this Netflix documentary, like nature documentary that Barack Obama narrated. And let me just tell you, it was the greatest nature documentary I've
that'll
ever
be good.
watched.
I've heard about
was
that,
so
or maybe
good.
you told us about that, but I could just
So
imagine.
good. Like my man found his calling, after being
not as president of the United
States. Like he that was a warm up for doing nature documentaries. But no, it was the greatest. Like I was so engaged. Like yeah, no, that penguin is marching. Like this is fantastic.
So is that your answer?
I think it's nature documentary. And here's my reason why. I don't know that Chelsea would like going to an Italian restaurant and the mariachi band just coming in and like
It doesn't
hitting
match
up
the
that
mood.
place, right? Like
Imagine you walk into the house after a frustrating day and the mariachi band's playing like an upset song.
all I can think of is
I like
that
funerals.
video-
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think it's nature documentary because I also feel like he would be a distance away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then there's can only you hear it, or can everybody around you also hear it, or just people within like voice distance?
I think within
Within
earshot,
earshot.
they can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I choose nature documentary.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: nature documentary. Everything you do.
Everything.
But
No.
Mariachi
Listen.
band everywhere you go, right?
True.
Was that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, everywhere you go, but like, I can bottle up my feelings, right? They could just take a rest for a few measures, right? But no, you're sitting there in a restaurant on the John, but hey, everybody's in earshot, right?
So your
I don't
answer
know.
is mariachi
Mariachi
band?
I think I'd play off the mariachi band pretty well. I think I
I
could.
think I would like the narrator, and then I would use it to my advantage. If if I was having a conversation with someone and I was like really frustrated, then the narrator could be like, and Chris was really frustrated with this person. I'd be like, I didn't say it. He said it.
Just letting you know.
You're just making like these normal comments, but deep down you're like furious. It's like he's being really gentle, but we can tell he's not happy right now. It's like
Here's my other problem with the narrator. Not even just the fact of every action, every dumb or wrong action that takes place. Okay. About a week ago, I tried to make pizza, and I made a mistake in how I was baking it. I won't go into all the details. But if you could just imagine the narrator saying, and as Aaron pulls out the pizza from the oven, he realizes, oh no, this is not going to work. Eventually, I'd get to the point where I'd look up at whatever invisible narrator is there and be like, would you stop it? Like,
we see Aaron now reaching for the Papa John's phone number.
Which is what happened.
no, that's exactly what happened. Lexi goes, okay, it's not that bad. Here, hold on. Let me see your phone. Let's see if we can like Google like a way to salvage this pizza. And I'm thinking she's gonna
Little
like,
Caesar.
does it need to bake longer? Do you cut it all up and make something different out of it? And she's typing and scrolling a little. And about 2 minutes later, she hands it to me, and she has Papa John's ordered. And I'm like, thanks, babe.
That's
At
how
least
we
we're having pizza.
It was an Italian themed puddle.
It was.
Like if pizzas had bones, this one didn't have any. It was a struggle. I saw a picture. I felt
was so
terrible.
I need
bad.
to see this picture.
It was
That
so
sounds
bad.
amazing.
Papa John's.
I'll send
was
it
the
to you.
call.
It was so bad.
All right, here we go. You fellas ready? All right, this is the most recent and amazing would you rathers that have been given to me, so I can't claim this as my own, but I thought it was really funny. Would you rather, for the rest of your life, the only sweet thing you eat are Runts bananas?
Oh.
Or the only savory thing you eat for the rest of your life is meatloaf?
Meatloaf. 500%.
Yeah.
No
Banana
way.
Banana
runts
runts are trash.
the worst.
Like
There's
it's
banana
like,
runts, banana Laffy Taffy, banana flavored anything.
like
Buns.
Like
Dunzo.
whoever invented the banana flavored runt has never eaten a banana in their entire life. I don't
Like,
even think they know what a banana looks like.
No. Here's the thing.
They got the
There's
shape wrong in the run.
it's a generational shame, right?
It is.
Dad made the banana Laffy Taffy. First son made the banana runt.
Mm-hmm.
The much younger son that came later in life as a surprise made some kind of LaCroix flavor. You know, this is the generational
Banana
shame we're dealing
LaCroix
with.
rode on truck
Yeah, it's
next
just-
to bananas.
Fellas,
Yeah, don't even
Don't
answer
even.
banana
This
runt.
is not a question.
Listen.
No.
Listen.
This is not it.
Listen, I will never eat dessert again.
No, you have to though.
I can't. I will. I
Do you
cannot.
really not like meatloaf?
I hate meatloaf.
You haven't had good meatloaf.
I apparently I haven't.
You haven't had
everybody
my meatloaf.
and everybody keeps telling me that. I'm not going to tell you whose meatloaf I have because their ears might listen to this podcast one day. However, I have only ever had meatloaf that is made so. There are stories of face-offs between me and my grandmother where you're not getting up from the table until you eat this, and it's like, okay.
Well, you just explained whose meatloaf you had.
Well, yes, there's others. Okay, so
Doxed.
somewhere in my family, the meatloaf has not been there.
Okay. Let me ask you a question about the meatloaf. Was it extremly dense?
It was dry.
Okay.
It was dense.
You're
was
just making
had
this
any
worse
meatloaf
as you
then.
go.
No. But I don't. This sounds horrible, and maybe God will reshape my heart, but I don't care. I don't want to try it. I want to try it when I see egg and Ritz crackers, and I used to joke and say I think I saw a fish head in there. I don't want it. And
Meatloaf is one of our favorite things to eat in this house.
I told the individual, it was one of our pastors. He's the one that asked this question. I'm like, I would rather have the Runts bananas, and I will just never have dessert again. And I think I could do that because there's pizza, there's hot dogs, there's sushi.
Okay, but yeah, savory. Okay, but there are a lot of other things that you can eat that are not considered savory that you could use in a meal or whatever. Sushi's not savory. I don't know on that one. Is it? I guess because of the meat. Okay, whatever. But still, anyway, I'm sorry. Sour Patch Kids, the watermelon. I'm not giving that up. No. Nerds gummy clusters, Bunch of Crunch, Dove chocolate, the ice cream I just had 30 minutes ago. Sorry.
I know.
I'll get just enough. I'll get just enough pleasure out of salty because you can still have salty. Salty's not lumped in that category. I'm gonna eat meatloaf, Pringles, and whatever dessert I want for the rest of my life. It's gonna be great.
Well, I guess we can conclude this would you rather with Evan's just wrong, but it's
And he's the one who asked it. I'm kidding.
Tell you what. The day I have good meatloaf, I'll take it all back. We'll have another
All right.
podcast.
When you come visit me, I'll make you good meatloaf, and you'll change your whole mind.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, like I said at the top of the episode, we are planning to talk about, and we're going to talk about Sabbath today. That is why you clicked on this episode, probably the official title being Jesus Took Naps. So let's talk about rest. Obviously, as you can assume, Sabbath and rest go hand in hand, but there's a lot more involved with that, right? I just want to kind of survey you guys with just the idea of Sabbath, kind of what it is, or your understanding of what Sabbath is. If we want to explain, what it means, what the origin of it is, and then getting more so into the importance of it and how we do it. But I guess high level, the very basics, down to earth explanation, and it is rest, but it's so much more than that, right? So I don't know if either of you want to take a crack at that.
Yeah. So when you think about the origin of Sabbath, like using the Bible as your source, the Sabbath is from the beginning. Like God created the earth in 6 days. He created everything that we see and feel and hear and touch today. And then on the seventh day, he rested from his work, and he just instituted the Sabbath as having a day where it's holy, it's set apart. And then he later, when he was instituting Sabbath to his people, he was saying, hey, every single day you're going to go out and you're going to collect this food, this daily food that I've provided for you. But on this day, you're going to collect double the amount. And the reason why is because I just want you to spend time resting, reflecting, being with God, being with each, like fellowshipping with one another, with your people, with your family, just taking that day as a day of rest. And it was interesting because whenever the Israelites would, they didn't initially trust that. They would be like, oh, well, I'm going to collect, but I'm also going to go out early the next day on Sabbath, on the Sabbath day. I'm going to go collect more food, and there wouldn't be any. Like he wouldn't give it to them. And it was this whole like, do you trust me to provide the things that I need for you? So whenever people ask like, what do you think that the origin of the word Sabbath comes from? I believe that it does come from that, is God setting apart a specific day to rest. Now, do I think it's like a Saturday, a Sunday? A lot of people say, well, Sunday's your Sabbath day, isn't it? Like, that's your day of rest, because what you do is you go to church, and like that's it. It's like, Sunday is my busiest day. Like, I am working, like I'm up and at the church at 8 a.m. and I don't get home till after 1, and like it's work, during that. So when I think of the word Sabbath, it's what day in my week am I going to put the phone down? Am I, unless like something obvious, like there's a medical emergency, right? But what day am I going to trust that, what, if something happens, other people can handle it. God will provide some means of an issue being handled, and set apart that time for things that would further my walk with him and with my family. Aaron, I'll let you jump in. I love how like this last year, actually really the past couple of years, my view of Sabbath has changed from like, oh, it's a day off where you get to sleep in and play video games and watch TV all day and do nothing. It's like, well, no, there's like a day where you're resting from work, but part of rest is also rejuvenation, refocus, remembering like God, like the things that God has given me, like my family, like my home, like, my rest that I can have, and taking advantage of growing in those areas.
It's not just physical rest too. It's kind of the point you were making there. Like it's like rest of your entire like being, your soul, your mind, your emotions, like everything. People kind of have an idea that it's just like, hey, lay on the couch all day, but it's so much more than that, right? Go ahead, Aaron.
My view used to be very much so, Sabbath was Sunday. We went to church, we came home, we laid around, watched football, and just hung out in the evening, got ready for the week. And as I got older, you work in retail for 2 years and you see everybody and their mother that doesn't go to church shopping on Sunday afternoon. And, you start doing all these different things with your life as you grow up. What you come to find is God instituted this, and he really, harped on this with Israel, made it a command for them, and also just gave more context to how they can use the Sabbath to worship God, but also rejuvenate their souls. So as I'm growing up the Sabbath isn't just taking a nice nap. The Sabbath is doing something, but doing something with intentionality for my physical, mental, spiritual well-being. And physical rest, that is a big part of Sabbath. Like we really need that. And as I've gotten older too, one thing that I've seen is there are people, especially when you get into like church ministry and stuff, people that take, like they'll call it a sabbatical, where it's much longer than just a 1-day Sabbath or whatever, but they take a period of rest, say like a month over the span of 6 to 8, even 10 years, whatever. But that is hey, we've been through this whole season of life. And as I go through this season of life, it's like, it's not that you missed part of your life or anything, but you've been so busy and you've been working and you've been living life and all this stuff's happening. But then you stop and take a moment to say, I really need to just catch up with my family. I need to rejuvenate my soul. I need to do something to show my family that the rest is important. So I don't know. I kind of have seen that talked about more often recently. So that kind of, I think that narrowed my view on what the Sabbath really means. Because yes, those are important things, and I really believe that people that take those, like in church context, are very deserving of them because of how mentally taxing a lot of that is. But then you bring that back to the view of one day. What some people would do in that 1 month or whatever sabbatical is go on a vacation, take the slow lane, go do something fun for a scenic drive. Wind that back down into 1 day. What are you going to do in that 1 day? Well, you can't go to the beach and spend a whole weekend there at your grandma's beach house. But you can take your family outside and go for a bike ride together. You can paint. You can cook together. Is that doing things? Yes, but you're rejuvenating your soul. You're building your relationship. You're opening opportunity to grow in that rest.
The worship leader at our church, he's actually in my small group too. He's a very good friend of mine. When you were talking about taking the sabbatical from church, it made me think of an analogy that he uses a lot and a lot of leadership in our church uses. Is kind of like the filling of your cup analogy, right? Like when you're serving, especially in the church or maybe like in your job, if you're serving other people, where you can really compare it to anything that you're doing in your job and your life. You think of you and your emotions and your thoughts and just your physical well-being as a cup that needs to be filled, but when you're serving others, you're pouring out from your cup. You're giving some of yourself, right? And I think that sabbatical time and even just Sabbath is a time for your cup to be filled back up so that you can still do that serving and that giving to others, right? And we can only find that rejuvenation or that refilling in time like the Sabbath, because otherwise you can like sort of fill your cup up a little bit to be able to do what you're doing the best of your ability with that much of a filled cup, but you will never be able to perform those things in the same way that you would with a full cup. Like you too have to be fulfilled and your cup has to be filled so that you can pour into others, is what I'm trying to say. And I think Sabbath there's so much justification for it in that, right?
As we think about the practicality of Sabbath, I think of just a couple of biblical examples. Evan, you mentioned at the beginning, God resting, obviously, after creating the world. It was an institution. He had purpose behind it. But what are some other people that did practice the Sabbath that we saw? And I don't remember if it was specifically when this took place was the Sabbath, but I think of Matthew 14, Jesus takes time alone. And there are multiple places in Scripture where this is mentioned, but Jesus goes to a place by himself to pray, or he got up early and went to pray. I know that it's not a particularly, this happened on the Sabbath day, but I think that's an example that when it's applied to whenever your Sabbath day is, it's really important. Obviously, Jesus found importance and meaning in prayer. Apparently it did something. There are results from that prayer. In that same vein, there needs to be a spiritual aspect to why you take a Sabbath, right? For the Israelites, it was just literally a command. It was part of their spiritual practices. That was what was commanded of them to do. And it's because God knew that they needed that rest. Right? This continues on as they continue to wander in the desert when they're collecting the manna, they're collecting the quail. That's their daily provision that God gave them. But he revisits the command of Sabbath by saying, hey, 6 days of the week you will collect the quail, you will collect the manna, you'll collect your food for the day, eat that food that day. The next day, go out, get the food again, repeat this for 6 days. On the sixth day, gather double, so that on the Sabbath you can rest from your collecting and you can still have provision. He continues to kind of develop that process there. I think that's where Chick-fil-A got their being closed on Sunday from. You gather double on Saturday, you take some home with you. You know, people are like, "Oh, I want Chick-fil-A on Sunday, but they're closed all the time." Well, you're not gathering double on Saturday. Come on, come in and get some chicken. It's gonna be great. But anyway, one thing that I think drives that principle home more is the aspect of the gathering double that day before the Sabbath. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be any particular day. The way that I saw it done in my own life, my dad, as a pastor, his double duty day, his gather double day, was Sunday, because he was preaching, because he was ministering to people, because he was doing all that. And then Monday, you know, whether he called it this or not, he made a point to take Mondays off. That was because he just did his double duty the day before. So what next? Have your Sabbath on Monday right there after you've done that double duty. So, you know, I don't want to compartmentalize that and say it has to be this day, has to be this time. You work that out on your own. But there comes this aspect of the reason why God institutes that rest for us is because there is an expectation of us to do our work diligently and to do it hard for his glory.
Yeah, and I actually want to backtrack for a minute too, because I don't think we've touched on this, and I want to be aware that there may be some of our listeners that don't even fully understand what Sabbath means. So I learned this too, so I'm sharing some stuff that I learned through, you know, doing my research for this episode. So the word Sabbath actually comes from a Hebrew word, which is a Shabbat, which literally means to stop or to cease. It's not like slow down. It's not like, you know, give half effort. It actually means to just quit. So when I was thinking about that too, it made me think about what I believe to be Sabbath in my life and what it, you know, actually is. And I was really challenged by something I was listening to. There's an author and also just a great pastor named John Mark Comer. And he was recording a podcast, and he said something on that podcast I was listening to that really stuck with me. And he asked, he said, you know, if I were to come into your home on a day that you say you're Sabbathing, and would it look any different than any of your other days? And if you could say no, or if you couldn't say yes, I guess, then are you really Sabbathing? Like if your Sabbath day, whatever you claim it to be, looks exactly the same as all your other days, are you really Sabbathing? Because we do some of the same things on those other days, right, that we do on the Sabbath day, but what are we doing on that day, that time that sets it aside for God, for you, for your family, to really focus on that ceasing, on that stopping? All those things can wait. I mean, like you said, Evan, like so much of our distractions, our social media, our technology, our just striving for more, pushing for more, trying to do more. That's what our society, you know, tells us we're supposed to be doing, right? That's what marketing is about. Our whole, like the whole psychology around marketing is telling you that you need more, that you have to achieve more, that you have to do more. But what's so funny is all of those ads, the majority of those ads are showing you Sabbath practices. If you think about it, think about like ads for sandals, the place where you can go and stay at a sandals resort, right? That ad is telling you that you need that to feel better, to feel fulfilled, to justify whatever you're doing, right? But the people in those ads are resting. They're doing nothing. How ironic is it that the marketing industry is pushing both agendas at you at the same time? They're like latching on to that human need for rest. a human need that God created is a God created need for rest. That just like smacked me right between the eyes when he said that. I was like, okay, all right, challenge me, John, challenge me.
Human nature states we need it. It's not a religion. It's not some spiritual practice. They know. We were designed to know that, and we crave it.
We spend so much of our lives, in comparison, in wanting, in trying to achieve the next thing. We're always looking for that ultimate rest to feel fulfilled. But on this earth, there is nothing that will ever give us that ultimate rest, because God created us in a way that we are desiring something that only he can give us in our heavenly home. So we're always working to achieve that, but we're never going to actually find it unless it's through Jesus and through our eternity, in heaven with him. It was really powerful, and I wanted to share it because it kind of was a good reality check for me. Like so many things are just pulling at our attention all the time. I noticed it even while I was listening to this podcast that I was telling you about. Like I had texts coming through, and I was driving and thinking about all these other things, and I got mad at myself because I was like, I just want to focus on this podcast. I just want to learn about Sabbath, and here I am falling victim into the things he's talking about. It's like second nature. You don't even realize you're doing it.
Can you repeat that quote one more time? If you aren't doing.
Yeah, I have it written down here. I'll read it so it's a little more clear. So if someone walks into your home and they can't tell that you're practicing Sabbath because it looks like any other day in your life, you are not honoring the Sabbath.
I remember being challenged when we first had this idea of, as a staff, we were, hey, you need to pick a day, and that needs to be your Sabbath, where you're not the one who's on call to go get that thing done. You need to just trust that somebody else will have that. And so initially I took it as, oh, well, this is going to be a day where, man, I'm doing nothing and I'm putting my phone away and don't tell me to do squat. And like, that's going to be my Sabbath. And then it was, well, wait a minute. What about like Sabbath, this idea of using the Sabbath for rest, reconnection and rejuvenation, and like refocusing on like the Lord and the things that he has for you. I began to, Chelsea and it actually was a little bit of conflict between us at first was, well, hey, what are you using your Sabbath for? I'm like, I'm using my Sabbath for me. That's the point of Sabbath, is so that I can get what the rest that I want, that I need. And, and by the way, don't step on that. Don't interfere with that. And she just challenged me, well, what about your walk with the Lord? What about me? What about your kids and like our kids and whatnot? And so it's just funny because like my normal days, what that would look like, work, being with the kids. Yeah. Being with my wife. Yes. But also doing all the things that my job required of me. And then I would get home on my Sabbath, and it's, okay, well, what are the things that are above and beyond that I can be doing to recenter my life around Christ, recenter my life around my family and whatnot? And so what it's turned into is like Sabbath for us is, man, we're resting and relaxing around the house. We're playing Zelda, we're doing that. We're also picking up trash around our neighborhood. And I'm using that as an opportunity to teach my kids, we're doing this because we're supposed to love, like Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. And we're doing this to love our neighbors well. Like not regular, like not every single week necessarily, but maybe once a month, my Sabbath looks like, hey, I'm taking one of my sons and we're going to have a dad Sunday morning. We're going to go to the indoor rock wall, or we're going to go to Taco Bell, or we're going to do something together so that like we're teaching them that this is the day where we rest, but we also rest well and rest meaningfully. And it's not just grab a bowl of potato chips and sit on the couch for 10 hours straight. Like I don't think that's healthy either. I don't think that's what necessarily God had intended for rest. It was more of trust me and what I've done, trust in the ways that I provided for you, and take comfort in that trust and in that rest and in that reminder of I have you where I have you for meaning and for purpose, and make the most of that.
Oh, so good. I definitely struggle with Sabbath personally, and it's something I've been working on over the past like probably 2 years, and definitely gotten better at it, but still struggle. When I was first starting the journey of figuring out what Sabbath even was or what it looked like for me, I found these 3 questions, and I actually want to read them because I think it will be helpful to you guys and to anyone listening to help you sort of determine what your Sabbath could look like. The first question is, what drains me? So, I mean, this should be an easy answer for all of us. Like, what are the things in our lives that just like drain our energy, drain us emotionally, mentally? Like, what is really pulling at us throughout our weeks, throughout our days, and kind of make a mental list of that, right? On your Sabbath day, do your best to avoid those things. And maybe you can't. I mean, I don't have kids, so I can't speak to it, but I know that like there are times when our families may drain us, and that's okay. I mean, I think that's an important time to take some individual time on your Sabbath in addition to your family time, right? I mean, I'm sure you both can speak to that. But then the second question is, what then restores me? What are the things that you do that make you feel alive? Some people say that, like, this makes me feel alive. Serving, like you said, Evan, is such a great example of that. I've always heard that, you know, if you're struggling with all kinds of different things, depression, anxiety, just trying to find your purpose, serving is such a beautiful way to not necessarily remedy that, but to help with some of the feelings related to those emotions and those feelings. Yeah, finding the things that restore you. And maybe that is time with family. Maybe that's painting, taking a walk, some sort of physical activity. Maybe it's something creative. It's just something different for everybody. So kind of think about like what restores you. And then the third is the most important, in my opinion, is what helps me feel connected to God. And it's kind of a 2-part question. What helps me feel connected to other people? So that time with God is obviously number one during your Sabbath. I mean, God created the Sabbath. He created that day of rest. And I think it's so important that we glorify him during this time. And we also, you know, pray to him and thank him for this time of rest, because it's so restorative for us and it's so important. It's literally, of the 10 commandments, it's the only one that is a ritual. And I think that's really important to note. But yeah, that was really helpful for me, those 3 questions, and trying to help like you guys and help the listeners determine what that looks like. And you know, it's hard for me personally. I know, Evan, you kind of shared what your Sabbath looks like. I'm still working on it. I mean, I don't work on Sundays. We do obviously go to church on Sundays, and I find that time very restful and restorative for me, because I get to worship, which is super restorative, but also I get to have really good conversations with people who genuinely care about me and care about my walk with God. And it just fills me up. Like it's such an amazing feeling to leave our church every Sunday. We're so blessed for our church family. But then we also take the day to just kind of, you know, be together. Like my wife and I, we spend a lot of time together on Sundays, and maybe we're doing a couple little things here and there around the house, but sometimes it's, you know, individually working on a devotional, or, you know, we're, you know, playing a board game, or we're going for a walk. We just really want to, before we have kids especially, establish our Sabbath day as a day where we focus on family and on each other, and just enjoying God's creation, right? Aaron, what's your Sabbath look like?
It's hard because we identify like different seasons of our lives, and this has been a season of our life where I felt like we haven't really had much Sabbath. We're just always stop and go and stop and go and stop and go. But I don't know, something I find a lot of comfort in. I don't typically work Saturdays, and that's been great. There's activities that we usually do on Saturdays that are just different than the rest of the week. You know, it doesn't have to do with work. It doesn't have to do with school. It doesn't have to do with other things. We go at least twice a month, once to Home Depot and once to Lowe's. And Everett gets to do a craft on Saturday mornings. And that usually is just a fun... We're just together and we're creating something, and we're, you know, able to talk to people. The ladies that work at Home Depot think Everett is just the best thing in the world and loves everything about him, and they're like, you know, that second aunt that you only see like once every 5 years, but then they're just like, they spoil you. It's great. But I don't know, that I see that as just like a family activity that's restorative for us. Is it stressful sometimes? Yeah, it's a little bit when you have 100 children in a Home Depot, all with hammers and screwdrivers making. It's really funny. Like, we've learned not to FaceTime grandparents to see what we're doing because they can't hear a word we're saying anyway. No, I just think of techniques like that. We don't have a set Sabbath day right now. It's just hard. It just is. But I don't know. I think towards our future and things that are coming up soon, and I think about a true just day where I know I personally can practice Sabbath, and it's hard because you want to practice Sabbath together as a whole family. But even then, that could be hard, just depending on the season of life that you're in. But I'm looking forward to a day where if my Sabbath doesn't line up with what's going on with the rest of our family's schedule, I can still intentionally create a Sabbath or Sabbath techniques to allow for the rest of my family to participate as well. You know, be in such a way so that my wife can enjoy a Saturday where she's not having to do all this work, and we can just sit together with the kids and play board games and go outside and things like that. I want to take this just as a moment to encourage people, whether you regularly practice a Sabbath or not, whether it's by choice or lack of knowledge, or you're just in a tough spot where it's hard to do. It's okay. It's okay. Life's going to continue to be this way. We're all going to have portions of our life where the Sabbath doesn't have to look like an exact thing. But here's the gist. The command that we're given is to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. So I think wherever your Sabbath lies, consecrate it. Set it apart. Make it different. Make it so that when that person unexpectedly walks through their door, they know you're Sabbathing. They know, whatever that might be. I look forward to a Sabbath technique where I can just sit down and learn music better. That's restorative to my soul, but I just don't get opportunity to do it too often. But when I do, that's just, that's something.
I appreciate you sharing like the struggles too, because Evan and I are sharing examples of how we do Sabbath, and I think so many people, not just you, Aaron, are struggling to find maybe the time to do it, or they just aren't even sure where to begin. And I think it's something that you just have to maybe start small, take small steps, like maybe an hour or two of your time where you just stop and just either pray or read your Bible, or just focus on time outside, sit outside, go for a walk. I think you're going to naturally start to feel kind of like the rhythms that come with Sabbath. I mean, God created it, so obviously we're going to we're going to reap the rewards of it if we are truly practicing it. I personally have recognized a lot of different things in my life. I've always struggled with confusing rest for being lazy. It's a situation where the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I love, especially my mother, dearly. But she's always someone in my life who's go, 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 never sits down. And when she does sit down, she falls asleep because she has gone. And my brothers are the same way. And she's such a hard worker. I respect her so much. But I think I have sort of taken that too far in my life. And then I don't allow myself to find that rest or to find that total rest, because if I am resting, then I feel like I'm being lazy or there's something else I could be doing. So to that, I'm just saying, like, there are challenges, whether it's schedule, whether it's just a mentality, whether it's maybe not fully understanding what it is. But if you can find time to Sabbath, and like I said, I've reaped these benefits, like, you will find that your anxiety decreases. You'll find more joy in simpler things, or in just the things that you're doing. Your faith will absolutely deepen. I think that naturally happens, especially as you spend more time with God. Your relationships with your family, with your friends, the people you care about, are going to improve because you're spending more time, and it's uninterrupted time. That's so important because we're so distracted, right? And I think even our work then becomes healthier. So when we're not Sabbathing, I think that our work becomes more productive, and we feel better when we're working and we're being, quote, productive and not in our Sabbath time. So it doesn't don't look at Sabbath as it taking away from your life or giving up something. It's actually improving your life. It's giving you clarity. It's giving you trust. It's giving you peace. And it's giving you true rest. It's something that we all are longing for. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer when you put it on paper, right? But it's just so convoluted and it's so hard to understand, and it's so just different than what we're being told, in our society, right?
And I think using those words, true rest, and really just asking yourself that question: what is the thing that I can find to implement in my life that would give me true rest? And automatically, I think that people jump to answers. I know, and I'm not pointing my finger. I'm saying for me, like my definition of true rest before I really started like growing in my understanding of Sabbath, what my definition was: I want to sit at my computer. I want to play old school RuneScape. I want to drink Mountain Dew and eat Ruffles, and like that is restful and that is fulfilling for me to do all day. And I quickly found out that that's not, like, sometimes that's not a bad idea, and sometimes that is where I can find like true just enjoyment and relaxation. Sometimes true rest is, hey, you've said that you haven't had good sleep the last few days. Take a nap. Like, take a nap. It's different for every person, and I know that there are people listening right now who might be saying, I work 60 hours a week, and rest to me is just a foreign concept. And just know that like that's real. We're not saying that that's not. Those are real circumstances and real like life experiences. It's really cool though, because God knows that too. And yet in that, it's where can you, I think it's more so, instead of saying, hey, follow my rule book of like having this specific 24-hour day where you're doing nothing or you're doing something restful or whatever, maybe just begin to ask yourself, like, what are things that I can do during my time that are helping me move towards finding things that are truly restful and restorative for my body, mind, and soul. I know one of the things, I was going to mention this, but sometimes what my Sabbath looks like is I'm at home with the kiddos while the wife goes and gets a coffee. And is that particularly restful for me? Not necessarily whenever the kids want to wrestle and do shenanigans and all that good stuff. But later in my day, when I try to have conversation with my wife, and like she's had a day where she can truly rest, like it benefits both of us, and vice versa. It's finding those things that say what can give me true rest, peace, whatever you want to call it, for my like body, mind, and soul, for my relationships as well. And what are like simple things that I can be doing to go towards that? This sounds simple. It sounds silly, and I think it might be supposed to be. I don't have an alarm clock on my Sabbath day. I let the son or the kids or the cat wake me up. I don't know.
Whichever happens first.
Whichever happens first, right? But like I'm not worried about an alarm clock. And I start my day saying, okay, whenever I wake up, and that's I'm choosing to have a sleep that's uninterrupted by, because when I think alarm clock goes off, it's I gotta get dressed, I gotta get in the shower, I gotta get to work.
Start of the race.
Right, yeah. Man, wake up slow. Open your phone and get on the Bible app and spend time with the Lord. Say, hey God, thank you for this day where like I don't have an alarm clock. And again, this looks different for everybody. That's just what it looks like for me. A couple of things that have just been really restorative for me, and I've loved growing in my understanding of, man, how, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow's my Sabbath. And what am I going to do tomorrow that's just restful and rejuvenating and just fun, but also relaxing?
And I appreciate all the conversation on Sabbath. I honestly feel like we should probably do another episode on this in the future, because I feel like there's so much more here to unpack. But high level explanation of what Sabbath is here in this episode. I just hope that you have a better understanding of what it is, and you can start to evaluate maybe how you're Sabbathing already or how you would like to Sabbath. But ultimately, that's what Sabbath is. It's an invitation. It's an invitation from God to stop striving. We were talking about, our society always pushing for more, striving for more, trying to do the next thing, be better than the next person, right? But it's an invitation from God to just trust him deeply and to remember that we're loved apart from what we produce. Let me say that again, because I need to hear it again.
That was really good.
Use the Sabbath to remember that we are loved apart from what we produce. So as you head into this week or, into this weekend or whatever part of your week that you're in, we here at the Three Chords Cast, we invite you to try a Sabbath experiment. You don't have to do it perfectly, just do it intentionally. There is no perfect way to Sabbath. It's just individualized. Just focus on seizing, stopping, whatever those things are that drain you, right? And work on finding the things that fill up your cup and fulfill you. Rest isn't weakness, it's worship. So I want to end us with just a bit of scripture. This is a beautiful 2 verses from Matthew. This is Matthew 11:28-30. I'm reading from the NIV. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light."
We want to thank you so much for listening to the Three Chords Cast. We'd love to hear from you as well. You can let us know about your Sabbath practice experiment you tried this upcoming week, wherever that might be for you. You can find us on all social platforms at the Three Chords Cast, or you can send us an email at the3chordscast@gmail.com. We have officially kicked off season 2 of our podcast with this episode. If you like what you've heard, you can drop us a review. You can comment on any of our posts. Just check out all of our previous episodes before. Let us know how you like them. We love interacting with you all. We're so thankful for all of you who are listening with us, wherever you are listening to us from. Until next time, find your people, love your people, and keep your people close. We will see you next time.